Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Dior, and this is Arkham Horror the card game doing the Circle Undone. Bye-bye Mementos. We are siding entirely with the Lodge here. Alright, we're going to side with the Lodge, because, yeah, that's what we're here for. I think my biggest issue with this entire campaign is how the character's personality seems to change based off your choices. It gives me a Tactics Ogre kind of vibe, if anyone's familiar with that game. Let's go ahead and deck one if the investigator sided with the Lodge. Investigator sided with the Coven, deceive the Lodge if the above is not true. So yeah, we sided with the Lodge, so we do deck one. So that's taken care of. Don't need to worry about you guys yet. Alright. Put the Miskatonic River and Forbidden Shore into play. Okay, those are in. We will be starting at Miskatonic River, which I think is like the only location that's not haunted. Shuffle the 6 unvisited isles and choose 2 at random. Okay, we did not side with the Coven, so it's not going to be lit. Side, search for them. Beneath the scenario reference card. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to set aside these guys because we don't need to worry about Valentino or Jerome. And we'll just keep those in the bag for now. Okay, this just decides the axe. We are starting with no doom because we didn't unleash any heretics, which is nice. And then we have some rules about circles and braziers. Okay. Let's go ahead and go through this, shuffle the deck. Lovers 6, you are at a crossroads. Reflect on the choices you have made. You shall be confronted with a terrible dilemma. 8 doom to advance. There are 2 agendas. There are 4 acts. The Unvisited Isle. The foggy shores of the Unvisited Isle are barren and unwelcoming. Not a soul greets you as you draw closer to the island, save for the judging gaze of ghostly birds that observe you from the trees. In the distance, the pillar of spectral energy is rising into the clouds, a vortex of otherworldly mist spiraling about it. 6 clues to advance. Skull is -2. If this is a skill test during a circle action, you have to reveal another token. Cultist is -3. If you have no damage on you, take 1 damage. If you have no horror on you, take 1 horror. This triggers no matter what. Tablet is -3. If you fail, a spectral enemy at your location attacks you, even if it's exhausted. And then Elder Thing, which we don't have, is -3. And if this is done during a circle action and you fail, you have to resolve the haunted ability at your location. Alright, I'll put a break here. Break, done. Alright, shuffle the deck. Shuffle this deck, shuffle that deck, and draw. That's a weakness. Alright, not bad. I'm going to tag out the Promise of Power. Okay. We have enough to work with. Okay. Also, I need to reset those stats. Okay. And then over here, deal to orange. Alright. I actually don't want these right now. That's better. Because our goal is to get the amulet as soon as possible. Alright, flip this location over. We can resign, in which case I think everything gets screwed over. And go to the investigation phase. We'll resolve the Out of Crossroads, lose an action to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and... Sorry, so the dilemma has happened. I haven't had anyone start a turn yet. I'm going to start with Lily Chen, of course. So I have 2, 3, 1 there. Let's draw a card. Let's draw a card. There's our thing. I'm going to go ahead and flip the Discipline. Or flip the, I keep calling it wrong, Alignment of Spirit. And then last action, I'll go ahead and do the Ever Vigilant. Alright. I will spend 3 to get out Beat Cop. Spend 2 to get Eyes of the Dreamer out. And then that'll be it. And then over here, I'm going to get out this backpack for free. And search top 12. Get Wendy's Amulet. Well, sorry, I need to actually look at the rest of the cards. 11 cards left. So Wendy's Amulet, Pocket Multi-Tool, and the Nautical Charts. Okay, and then that was the third asset, and then the final asset's going to be this Wendy's Amulet for 1. All right, cool. Now we're in it. We'll shuffle the deck again. All right, goes to Wendy. I'm going to go ahead and keep Faith to get 4 blesses. Then I'm going to play 2 easy marks. 1 and 2. And this will get us 4 resources. I will spend 2 to fast out this Favor the Sun. And then I'm going to spend 2 to Geas. I shall not commit skill cards during each of my turns. So I can still commit to other people's turns. And I can commit during the Mythos. As long as it's not my turn. Alright, that is everything for first round. Enemy phase. Nothing. Upkeep. First Doom. Alright, let's get to work. Ancient Evils, I will ward it. Which unfortunately means I do take a horror. So that's going to stay down for a round. Alright, Terror of the Night. I'm 5 to 4. I don't have anything I can commit right now. I pass. Alright, investigation phase. Whew. Let's start with... I'll start with Lily Chen. We'll move up. If you side with the lodge, you can't. You have to, okay, so I have to light the brazier. Circle test is test willpower, intelligence 3 to succeed. Blah blah blah. Okay, gotcha. All right. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and do a Drawn to the Flame and get 2 clues. Alright, I'm 3 to 4. Not much I can do about that. I fail by 2. Which is fine. Alright. I have 1 action remaining. I'm going to go ahead and gain a resource and then fast out a Spectral Shield onto the Beat Cop. Alright. Wendy. Wendy will move up. Wendy will go ahead and spend 1 to get out a Sparrow Mask. And then I'll do the circle action. I will spend an offering and go 7 to 3. We pass. So now there is a resource on this because it's now lit. Alright. Enemy phase, no enemies. Upkeep. Mythos, second Doom. Scaring Fog, perfect timing. Prey, lowest Spectral Raven, lowest intelligence, alert, hunter, retaliate. After it engages you, you must either resolve each haunted ability at your location or it gets +2/+2 until the end of the investigation phase. What's the haunted ability? I'll let him get super buffed. We'll just put in horror to represent that. All right. Let's see. I will start with Lily Chen. Lily Chen will gain a resource, or no, she'll do emergency cash to gain three resources. Then I will spend 2 resources to get out this Branica Thugga level 4. Then I'm going to attack the bird. The bird has 4 fight. I currently have 8 fight. So 8 to 4. We pass. I will spend 2 charges. Actually, I'll spend 1 charge to do 1 damage, and then do... no, actually, I'll just do 2 damage. Because I don't want this thing to trigger on anything. I don't think it would apply in this case, because it will be on the asset specifically, but just in case. In any case, this thing is now dead. And we go straight into Wendy's turn. Alright. Let's go ahead and move. We'll check out this location. So we need to get, what, 6 clues? Yep. So willpower and intelligence 10. Willpower and intelligence 10. So right now we're 9 to 10 if I want to go with it. But I'm in no particular hurry for that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to spin 3. Do I want to do it that way? Yes. Yes, I do. Get out the nautical chart. And then I'm going to investigate this location. It'll be 5 to 3. Yep, 5 to 3. Do I want to use anything else? Not really. -2, this is not a circle action, so I do pass, just barely. I will discard a True Awakening to get 2 clues. I don't really care about victory, but the clues will be useful. Alright, that is everybody. Upkeep. What is still in here, by the way? Pocket multi-tool. Okay, Watchful Peace would be nice. Mythos, Third Doom. Terror in the Night. Okay, well, I will go ahead and commit a Promise of Power. Add a curse. This will be 7 to 4. We pass. So, we don't have to worry about that until it cycles through the deck again. Ancient Evils, which is going to happen sooner than later at this rate. Alright, investigation phase. So I think there's 1 more Ancient Evils to go through. Alright. I'm going to have Lily Chen. We didn't take a damage this round, did we? Or last round, rather. We did for the Ancient Evils last time. So yeah, I did not take any damage, so this actually should flip. Because yeah, I did Obscuring Fog last round, and I didn't get hit. Okay, so action, I'm going to move to this unvisited isle. Agility and willpower. So 8 for Lily Chen, but 10 for Wendy Adams over there. Okay, it's only a 1 shroud location, so we got that going for us. So as long as, yeah, I'll go ahead and spend 3 charges of Eyes of the Dreamer to reveal those tokens. I'll take the +1 and get 1 clue. I'll do it again. Yes, I know I'm spending my charges, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll take the Elder Sign just so I can fill in that box for it. I'll get another clue. Alright, well, we can advance now, so let's go ahead and do that. The mist returns. You venture deeper and deeper into the overgrown woods, a timid voice in the back of your mind urging you to flee this place and never return. The dark mist becomes so dense you can hardly see anything. You shout for any of your companions, but there is no response, just the sway of dying tree branches in the wind and the thump of your heart pounding in your chest. Each investigator must randomly choose one set-aside unvisited isle location, put it into play in front of him or her, and immediately move to that location. Okay, and then it'll be unlit for it. Okay. So we'll go ahead and these have already been shuffled. So Lily Chen goes here, you go here. And we can't leave these locations yet. Alright, shuffle the story cards beneath the scenario reference card, which will be these two. Okay, so I'm going to hit shuffle once and then go left to right. Alright, Lily Chen. Check the missing person log. If Penny disappeared into the mist and you are on Penny's trail, she did not disappear into the mist. She was taken by the spectral realm. Was not claimed by specters. So you find Penny's apron lying on the ground covered in blood. There's no sign of her. So bye-bye, Penny. And then over here we got Gabriella. She disappeared in the mist and we're on her trail. Gabrielle stumbles out of the mist, her eyes bloodshot and her voice strained. Where am I? Who are you? Take control of Gabriella and Misra. She does not take up an ally slot, and then put Gabriella is alive. So we get Gabriella, who gives us +1 combat. She also doesn't take up an ally slot, so all good. More importantly, it gives us a nice soak there. Alright. Fated Souls. The trap set by the Silver Twilight Lodge has drawn the attention of the spectral realm and its inhabitants. One way or another, those who were trapped in the mist will end up here. Each investigator cannot leave the location in front of him or her if we acquire 4 clues. So if we had taken the time to farm those clues first, we probably would have been in a better shape. But that's okay. That is it for Lily Chen. We'll go to Wendy. Actually, let's read the locations here. Willpower and combat, 11. So that's 10 to 11 there. And the haunted effects spawns the whippoorwills. Over here, it is combat and agility, so it's 8 to 10 here with Wendy. Would be 10 for Lily Chen. And then next move action this round costs additional action for the haunted. Okay. Wendy, I know you got some things you need to do, so let's get to work. Let's go ahead and do the True Awakening. I'm going to grab a clue and draw 2 cards. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and do the Keep Faith for 4 blesses. Since I'm already here, I will go ahead and do the circle action. I'm going to be 8 to 10. I'm going to use the Favor the Sun to resolve a bless, and then use Ancient Covenant to immediately resolve it. So that'll be exactly 10 to 10, so I do light the brazier. Okay. And then last action, I'm going to go ahead and do nautical charts. This will put us at 5 to 4. Yep, we'll go 5 to 4. I can't commit any cards. So 5 to 4. It's -2. It's not a circle action, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 to do the lucky to pass. And then I'll discard the live and learn, so I can get 2 clues here. Windy is a monster. Okay, enemy phase, upkeep. Second Spectral Shield. At a crossroads, I'll go ahead and lose an action to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Mythos, we get a 5th Doom. I will go ahead and spend a resource and do a Watchful Piece to skip the card draw. My cat is saying hello to me. She lost her vision. Well, as of recording this a couple weeks ago, but she's actually recovered, which is actually pretty impressive. She's like a super cat. Anyway, so yeah, we did Watchful Piece. We need to remove 5 blesses and skip the draw phase, or just draw Mythos cards or encounter cards, whatever. Words. I know words. Unfortunately, this means I don't have the resource to do Black Market, but that's okay. All right, investigation phase. What do we have in here? Just the live and learn. Lily Chen. Let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and investigate this location. We're 4 to 2, and I'll spend 3 charges. I will go ahead and spin the Spectral Shield, so it'll be 5 to 2. Alright, I'll pick the 0, and since there's a 0 that I'm canceling as well, I'll get 2 clues. And then we will proceed to spend 4 clues as a group to advance. From the depths. Before long, the Revenant arrives. It rises from the depths of the Miskatonic River, unfazed by the water or the mist. Sensing fear and blood, it glides slowly toward the island with its arm outstretched. Its gaze brings dismay. Its grasp brings death. Spawn them at the Miskatonic River. We're going to, of course, get the counter set, so might as well grab it now. Shuffle the set-aside Watcher's Grasp and Watcher's Gaze into the encounter deck. Watcher's Gaze. Along with the encounter discard pile, which includes, unfortunately, all the bad cards. Okay. We can now move amongst each other, put the Geist Trap location into play. Okay, and it's not lit. Cannot enter the Geist Trap. Beyond the Mist version 1, you are close to the site of the Binding Ritual. You must light the braziers to find the way. Then all that is left to do is bait the Watcher to the trap and bind it there. So that's something I feel like I'm missing something here. Did I mess up something? Give me a moment. Alright, I did make a mistake. When I finished the last scenario, any one investigator can add the puzzle box to story asset to their deck. Unfortunately, I did not do that. But it says may, so you don't have to do it. So I'm just going to do this without the puzzle box. I know it has like an ability to like automatically light something, but I'm not going to rewind for that. And it's to my detriment anyway. So I will be fine with this. Okay, so yeah, I for whatever reason I completely forgot to add the box, but it does say May, so you do not have to do it. And to be honest, it's not the best thing in the world anyway. Yeah, the puzzle box here. Yeah, so essentially it can be used to do a free exhaust or oh, actually, it doesn't even light it. It can be used to exhaust the Spectral Watcher. That's pretty much the only benefit. I have plenty of other ways to exhaust the Spectral Watcher at this point, so I don't care. Okay, more you know. Sorry about that. Beyond the Mist. You are close to the site, blah, blah, blah. You must light the brazier to find the way. Then all that's left to do is bait the Watcher and trap and bind him to here. Lightning bolts during a circle action, you spend a clue to reduce the difficulty of this test by 2. And then once you have, if each unvisited isle location in play is revealed and the braziers of each of them is lit, you advance. Which we already have 2 of them lit. Or no, we have one. We have 1 of them lit, and there are 3 more. Okay, so that was Lily Chen. I'm still going. We got you doing your thing. That's fine. We essentially have 1 round before you start engaging us. Kind of wish I had kept the clues, but that's okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and just draw a card. That's the way to do it. And I actually don't care about the victory. As long as I get the braziers lit, if I'm going for gold, I don't need the victory. I also don't need the victory anyway. I've kind of got my build completely done at this point. So I'm just going to draw cards. All right, Windy. All right, so for Windy, let's move on over to this location. I can go 8 to 11. I'm going to go 8 to 11 and use an offering to go 10 to 11. I will exhaust the Favor of the Sun, resolve a Bless, and exhaust the Ancient Covenant to pass the check. The place is now lit. All right. Kept thinking I lit 1 more of these, but I don't think I did. I think I went for clues. All right, enemy phase, you come and say hi. Upkeep. Upkeep. Mythos. 6 Doom. Gonna shuffle this 1 more time. Terror of the Night, I am 4 to 4. We'll go 6 to 4. And I can commit for other people's test as long as it's not my turn, so I'll commit this and go 8 to 4. Okay. And then for you, Fate of All Fools, you have become the Fool. Alright, start of the investigation phase, I will spend 1 resource to do Black Market. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll have Lily Chen go first. I'm going to do Stand Together, gain 2 resources, draw 2 cards. Gain 2 resources, draw 2 cards. Alright. Then I'm going to go ahead and move to get engaged with this guy. And then I will spend 1 to do a sweeping kick. This will be 10 to 3. And now he's going to take 2 damage and be evaded for a round. I'll buy us a little bit of time. Okay. Wendy, I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 to get out this red clock. Then we're going to go ahead and move up to here. We're going to go ahead and do this, the circle action. You know the combo at this point. Resolve a Bless, Ancient Covenant. This puts us at 11 to 10, and we pass. This will get discarded, and we're good to go. All right. Enemy phase, he's exhausted. Upkeep, he'll re-engage. Abandon alone. This will get sacrificed. I lost. Oh, I forgot I had not drawn this yet, so I lost a watchable piece because of that. All right, I take 3 horror. That was a bit careless of me. All right, Mythos, 7th Doom. Investigator at the location with the most clues. That is you. It is aloof. Over here, one of you guys. We'll go ahead and give you a horror to show that you're buffed up. And then start of the investigation phase, these will get shuffled back in. I will spend 1 to do a black market again. All right, I'll go ahead and do the Keep Faith. I'll have Lily Chen go first. So at the start of the round, I'll do the Keep Faith. Actually, no, I'll have Wendy Adams go first. So I'll add 4 blesses. It's fast, so it doesn't provoke. We'll place this for the red clock. I can evade at 8 to 4, so I will. We succeed, you're evaded. All right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and move over to here. Then I'm going to go ahead and do an easy mark, gain 2 resources, draw a card. Easy mark, gain 2 resources, draw a card. Easy mark, gain 2 resources, draw a card. Then I'm going to spend 4 to fast out a Talisman of Protection and a Favor of the Sun. And that'll be it on that front. Oh, sorry, I did make a mistake here. This guy should be spawned here. Prey, so yeah, because she drew it, so it spawns on there. The prey is go to the investigator at the location with the most clues. All right. All right, Lily Chen. Let's go ahead and smack you around. We'll go 8 to 3 with a Brandica Thugga. Okay, I will spend 3 I'll spend 3 charges to exhaust him and get that taken care of. Then I'm going to go ahead and so the requirement, I believe the requirement is we have to get him to the Geist Trap and light it and get him exhausted. So for my second action, I'm going to go ahead and engage him again and then move with them. And he'll just end up he'll be engaged with me at the next round. Enemy phase, this guy will move up. This guy's exhausted, he'll unexhaust during upkeep, he'll unexhaust on upkeep. We do advance. Stolen Souls. A mist obscures the moon, plunging the woods into darkness. A flock of birds suddenly scatter from the treetops. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Sure. There are no missing persons that have been taken by the Watcher, so no worries on that front. Crossroads of Fate. As you continue through the woods, you notice the dark mist which has permeated the island is starting to drift away from the shoreline toward the center of the island, where the beacon of the spectral energy still rises into the sky. 10 doomed to advance. Put this next to the agenda deck. Crypt Chill. Haven't seen that in a while. We're currently 5-4. This is the Mythos phase, so I can commit cards freely. At this point, I don't think I care that much, though. So I'll just go 5-4. Well, a spectral enemy at your location attacks you. Well, that's unfortunate. So I do get attacked. I'm going to pick the Spectral Watcher because this is actually going to force him to exhaust. So I'll take 1 and 1. 1 damage here, and I'll take 1 horror. I also will get a offering. Also, since I did get attacked, I'll exhaust and grab a clue from here, just because I can. Also, I do need to get rid of a asset of my choosing. At this point, I'm going to get rid of a nautical chart. All right, investigation phase. These are going to get shuffled back in. I'll spend 1 to do black market. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go ahead and do the keep faith. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. This guy's aloof. I don't need to worry about him. He exhausted because he attacked. I do get to place one of these. And let's go ahead and do the circle action. I'm currently 10-11. I will, of course, do Favor the Sun, release, Resolve a Bless, exhaust Ancient Covenant to pass the check, and we advance. Against the Witches, after nearly an hour spent searching through the dense mist, you finally arrive at the site of the Lodge's ritual, only to find it in chaos. Members of the Silver Twilight Lodge, each wearing robes of blue and silver, are embroiled in battle with the Witches. Complete the ritual, Carl Sanford commands you from across the clearing. It is the only way. Annette turns her attention to you, shocked and angered. You again. I warned you we would not show mercy if we met a second time. She calls to her coven. Sisters, we must not let them interfere this time. Do not let their circle close. Reveal the Geist Trap location. If the Witch's spell was cast, spawn the set-aside net mason at the Geist Trap. If the spell was broken, which it was, yep. Spawn 1 set-aside Covenant Initiate at the Geist Trap instead. Did I miss something here? I guess it's just you. Okay. Gotcha. I understand now. So spawn a Covenant Initiate at the Geist Trap. 2 instead if there are 3 or 4. So this will be here. And then each of the Witch enemies also get added, are now shuffled into the deck, along with the encounter discard pile. Okay. The Binding Rite. At the center of the clearing lies the spectral trap, a pillar of ghostly energy which swirls about a stone obelisk. Hundreds of phantasmal faces and a conglomeration of rotted limbs and flesh intertwine within. A revolting display of death and despair. An unlit silver brazier stands in front of the pillar, ready for you to act. Same stuff for the circle stuff. You can spin clues to reduce the difficulty. If the Spectral Watcher is defeated at the Geist Trap while the Brazier is lit, advance. Oh, so for this one, you just have to beat him up. That is good enough for me. All right. So that was my first action. We didn't draw, right? It spawns them. Okay. Got that going for us. Unfortunately, I can't do the movement, so I'll just move normally. Get engaged by you. Actually, let's not move in. We'll stay here. And I'm going to play a True Awakening to grab a clue. And draw 2 cards. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and play this easy mark. Gain 2 resources, draw a card. And that'll be it for that. Lily Chen, I'm going to go ahead and move with the currently exhausted Watcher. Get engaged by you. Also, this guy should have been exhausted anyway, because I beat him up with damage. So it didn't really make a difference with the tablet, but that's okay. As for the Covenant Initiate, I'm just going to go ahead and attack with Branica Thugga. We'll go 8-2. We succeed. I will spend 2 charges to murder it. And then I'm going to spin. I'm going to go ahead and just do True Awakening. This location, by the way, has circle all 4 skills 20 to light it. And of course it has a bunch of, and the Spectral Watcher now has Retaliate while here. So right now it's 16 for Lily Chen. For Windy it is 17 to 20. Alright, so I'm going to grab a clue here and draw 2 cards. Alright, that is everybody. Enemy phase, I'll have the Spectral Raven. It goes after lowest intelligence until the end of the investigation phase. What's the Haunted ability here? Take 1 damage and 1 horror? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Alright, I'll take a damage and a horror. I'll actually take both on Lily Chen. This guy doesn't do anything until Haunted triggers. This guy will unexhaust finally. There's our Runic Axe. And there's that. Mythos. This will get discarded. Watcher's Grasp. I'm going to get hit for 1 and 1. It does exhaust him, though. Fate of All Fools, I'll take 2 damage. Alright, at the start of the investigation phase, this all gets shuffled back in. I will spend 1 to do Black Market. Alright. I will start with Wendy, place this, get an extra action. I'll use that extra action to move to here. I'm going to go ahead and do the circle action. So right now I'm, was it 9, 12, 17. I will spend 1 clue. Do Favor the Sun, Resolve a Bless, Ancient Covenant. That puts me at 21. That is a pass. So this brazier is now lit. Alright. Then I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 to do a backstab. I'll go 5 to 3 here. I'll use an offering to go 7 to 3. Sorry, this will be my last action. Oh, actually no, that was an action from there. Bless token? Bless token? Alright, so that is 2 blesses. I pass by a bunch, so I'll do 3 damage to this guy. Lose 2 bless tokens. Oh, sorry, you get put here. Alright, last action. I'll do a Keep Faith to add 4 blesses. Do have a backstab there, but I can't really do much with it. I'll do an easy mark for 2 resources. Draw a card. Easy mark for 2 resources. Draw a card. Easy mark for 2 resources, and draw a card. Okay. That is it for Wendy. Goes to Lily Chen. Alright, so the requirement for this is Spectral Watcher is defeated at the Geist Trap while it is lit. It is currently lit at the Geist Trap, so all I need to do is kill this guy in 1 blow. So, I have 2 charges left on this Brandic Athuga. We'll go 8 to 3. And that is -3. We pass. I'll spend the remaining charges from this. And that's it. Defeated by the Geist Trap. Alright, Disillusion. The Watcher wails in agony as the shadow wreath around its form is pulled away, exposing its true form. You and the members of the Lodge surround the shattered soul to prevent it from escaping. Resolution 1. The Revenant thrashes and writhes in torment, unable to escape its connection to the spectral realm, torn away. Carl Stanford steps forward, opens a thick leather tome, and the ghost memories, along with the remainder of its form, are unceremoniously pulled into its pages. What have you done? Annette yells. Several members of her coven surround her. They are embattled, but you have no doubt they would lay down their life to protect their high priestess from harm. What I have done? Why, I have cheated the devil, Stanford responds with a sinister grin. He knows the words of his tome are now glowing with a spectral radiance. Kezia signed the Black Book of Azathoth in order to learn the secrets of the universe, a fatal error in my estimation, for it put her in the clutches of one far more powerful than she. He begins to read from the pages as he explains further. She paid the price, but I shall reap the harvest. Annette clenches her jaw and turns towards you. You cannot even begin to fathom the secrets this monster now possesses. Do you truly believe he will use this power for good? She asks. So, to pick yes, first of all, you have to win this scenario, but you have to be inducted to the circle, and you're not deceiving. So we'll go Resolution 2. You stand tall and declare your loyalty proudly. The other members of the Order nod in affirmation. Carl Sanford will lead mankind in an era of peace and protect them from the threats of the cosmos. It may take time for society to adjust, but humanity can only survive if these secrets are in the hands of the Order. The witches retreat into the woods, and you are left alone with your brothers and sisters of the Inner Circle. You gather around your leader, and as he reads from the new creed of the Silver Twilight Order, he informs you of his plans, of the higher beings of the cosmos, of humanity's ascension, of the great old ones, of life and death, of Azathoth, and the end of everything. Step by step, the Order plots the future of Earth, and you'll become instrumental in the New World Order. In your campaign log, record the true work of the Silver Twilight Lodge has begun. The Silver Twilight Lodge wins the campaign. Investigators who are truly loyal to the Lodge win the campaign. So, that is the quick ending. Not exactly, you can question whether or not it's a good ending, but it is something to do. So yeah, like I mentioned before, the thing I don't like about this particular campaign is like the behaviors of both Annette and Sanford seem to kind of just change a bit. Well, maybe not in Sanford, but definitely Annette. Whereas like you succeed at helping the witches, and then the witches betray you, or rather Annette betrays you. And if you're helping out Sanford, but you're not fully in with him, he betrays you instead, and all the Azathoth stuff happens. It just it's like the narrative just kind of changes depending on your options that don't really make sense. I mentioned Tactics Ogre before, and there's a story option in that one where you're essentially, it's like, murder a bunch of people or don't, and a certain character in your group will literally despise you no matter what option you pick. Like, he literally will change his essentially change alignment based off of the option. So he's like, you choose the side with the Empire and murder people, he'll still hate you and join the rebels. And if you choose to resist, he'll join the Empire and be like, yeah, sure, I'll murder those people. And that's kind of what I have. It's the feeling I get from this particular scenario with all the options that lead to essentially being betrayed. So that's the only reason why I kind of like the Silver Twilight ending, because at least he doesn't betray you at the end, or at least it's not implied that he does. That being said, that is the first time I've actually done the quick ending, so I'm pretty happy about that. This was the easiest Union and Disillusion I've ever done. This was also the first time I kind of really embraced the bless cards in a video. Like I said, I feel like the effects and abilities on Survivor side is better for Bless, but their Bless the ways that they build up Bless is more limited, which I guess is sort of balanced. But if you have the right combination of cards, like, I don't know, Rogue 0 to 2 to get Black Market, and you have a bunch of free Keep Faiths, you kind of just steamroll. For this one, though, I think we only did we even do Watchful Peace? I think we did it maybe once. I don't even remember. Obviously, it was more significant in the previous scenario, which honestly wasn't that big of a deal. But really, the big time save for us for this scenario was just simply, I can guarantee I passed the circle test. Gias was a good call. Getting that +1 to all stats worked really well with the circle actions. But yeah, just being able to be like, okay, I use Favor the Sun, guarantee I get a Bless, don't need to deal with the RNG of the auto-fail, and then use Ancient Covenant to completely cut off drawing any additional tokens to just pass the test. Ancient Covenant plus Bless tokens plus Favor the Sun, you, as long as you are able to fully saturate it, and you have 2 of these, you essentially can just pass 6 tests throughout the entire scenario. More if you have a way of recurring it. Speaking of recursion, this Wendy deck I definitely like. Originally, like I said, I was kind of reluctant to add Watchful Peace, simply because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get the Bless tokens. But boy, once you get the engine going, once you have like Black Market going, and you're able to just kind of look at essentially every round, I'm essentially looking at 11 cards, one from drawing, and then potentially 5 to 10 just from Black Markets, and then even more if I do my easy marks and chain them together. I just had so much control, and what was crazy is for a Seeker, you usually are just cycling through your deck, taking the horror, and you get to go through your deck a bunch of times and use your deductions and all your fancy seeker things, but you also, of course, constantly filter back in your weaknesses. But for Windy, I didn't have another weakness because of Indebted. But even if I didn't have Indebted and I had some other weakness, once I trigger that weakness and it's in my discard, that weakness is gone. As long as I have a way of constantly cycling more events underneath my deck, which with fast actions you definitely can, I can make it so I'm technically going through my deck multiple times without actually going through my deck, and never having to reshuffle anything. Yeah, Windy's Amulet is ridiculously strong. I do like the advanced version. The regular version, you have to be based off the top event in your deck, or in your discard, which is a little bit harder to track. But yeah, so like I said, the last time I played Windy like fully on my own, I did like a Foot Matters, and I did some Windy's Amulet stuff, though I think I was messing up the rules for it, where I just focused more on pilfers. But to be honest, I think I'm kind of all for this nautical charts and Lawrence Carlisle stuff. It definitely kind of it makes it less reliable, or makes it less reliant on getting my fancy Foot Matters cards, because I can just use these and try to take advantage of my relatively mediocre intelligence stat. But again, once you have Favor the Sun, you can kind of just guarantee you pass your test anyway. And you're going to constantly recur your luckies, get your blessed tokens. Obviously, True Awakening is very powerful because it lets me get more cards into my hand. The only thing you got to be careful about is, of course, what you put in the discard before you draw your weakness, because you can, as I have shown in one of the prior scenarios, you can essentially lobotomize your deck at that point. In which case, you just kind of have to just struggle to make sure you can use what you have and not accidentally shuffle the discard back in. The backpacks, I'm honestly kind of torn about. It really, it's more like the backpacks are purely here just to try to maximize my chances of getting Windy's Amulet, because I have to get Windy's Amulet out as soon as possible before I start playing events. Because if I do events before I get Windy's Amulet out, every round there's a risk that those events will be gone forever because of Abandoned and Alone. But nothing. Other than that, though, it's pretty good. Like I said, the backpack is kind of like a necessary evil. Talisman Protection was mostly here just in case. It did matter I think it mattered once throughout the entire campaign, but once is enough, because otherwise I would die because of Karen's Obel. Karen's Obel also made this very much possible. I just had so much raw XP that I could just kind of do whatever the hell I wanted, which I definitely enjoy. Obviously, the Pocket Multi-Tool, I didn't put any points into it until the very final scenario, and I didn't even play it on the final scenario because I didn't need it. The Pocket Multi-Tool is mostly just to kind of get you through the beginning, because obviously you only have 3 book. You can get +1 from Carlisle and then +1 from Nautical Chart. And eventually, I eventually kind of cycle out the skill cards. Speaking of the skill cards, I think the skill cards were okay to start with. I think in hindsight, I'll probably swap some of those out for something else, but I'm not entirely certain which. It's mostly just to kind of get you carried through the beginning. Part of the reason I had the skill cards in there was I completely forgot how Windy's Amulet actually works, and you're supposed to kind of rely more on events. Also, Black Market doesn't work well with skill cards because you can't commit cards from the Black Market. But yeah, this is hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, as predictable as the deck kind of got towards the end, where I was just going through all my cards, it was really nice to just see the engine come together and how easily it came together. Obviously, how well it comes together just comes down to Windy's Amulet. Part of the also thing that made it really, really effective was teaming up with Lily Chen. Probably the struggle I have with a lot of Guardians is I like to make them more support than combat. I like having Ever Vigilant level 4. Like it's such a good action compression, and it's a great way to aid your partners to get them set up, because once they're set up, you're good to go. And then Stand Together level 3 is just so potent. But doing that does kind of harm my consistency in other aspects. We definitely went through a number of scenarios where I didn't get my weapons, or I didn't get the right spells. I think having Eyes of the Dreamer was completely fine. I like having another way of potentially getting clues, which I did actually use in this final scenario. Yeah, this is like, I know we saved some Doom because we didn't get any Heretics, but we had 9 rounds left. I mean, there's 3 Ancient Evils in the deck, but yeah, we had 9 rounds left. We burned through this like crazy. Um, I mean, to be fair, it can get really ridiculous, purely because usually what I end up experiencing for this scenario is I have the clues, I use them to get ready for the circle test, and then I fail it. Either a combination of drawing lots of skulls, drawing curses, or just flat out drawing the autofail. So it can be pretty brutal because you not only do you fail the test, lose the action, but you lose the clues, and there's only so many clues on the board. None of the clues refresh on this. So if you don't have the means to get your number big, you can find yourself completely stuck. And then if you fail this scenario, it is a defeat, which means it would have killed everybody at this point and turned Lily into a homunculus. Speaking of, if she had turned into a homunculus, I think at this point I would have still stuck with her, purely because the runic axe was strong enough that even at 2 strength, I think she'll be fine. And to be honest, she'll become actually more effective with her Eyes of the Dreamer, which is kind of funny, as well as the Brandicathuga. So it's actually kind of a neat little transition. It would be funny to turn into a homunculus, though, because essentially I would essentially swap out 3 of these cards for more weaknesses, which is pretty ridiculous. Besides that, like I said, the only catch for Lily Chin is it takes a lot of time to get the consistency up. Stick with the Plan costs 7 experience with Down the Rabbit Hole. Another 2 for the Ever Vigilant, level 1, and then I want to upgrade that too eventually. The skill cards didn't really do much, unfortunately, and I kind of turned away from them purely because of the tower. If I didn't have the tower, honestly, the skill cards would have been much more useful. There were definitely a number of situations where I wish I had a little extra accuracy on some of my attacks, because some of the enemies did get pretty high in the numbers. Sound support is amazing, as is Spectral Shield. The combo with the Beak Cop, unfortunately, didn't really get off the ground too much. It was still like a lightning bolt way just to do a damage, which was kind of nice. What is kind of nice, though, about putting a Spectral Shield on your ally rather than yourself is it gives you a little bit more control of when and where you pop the charges for Spectral Shield. So you kind of have that going for you. I guess part of the reason is, besides Eyes of the Dreamer, Brandicathuga, I more often than not want to just attack with it, because the tempo ends up being more or less the same, just simply because of how the numbers worked. I didn't really take advantage of any of my discipline abilities. I never used the healing. I never used the extra skill, and I didn't use the different fight or evade actions. I've done Balance of Body in the past, and I have done Alignment of Spirit. I've never done I think I've done Prescience of Fate like 1 or 2 times. But yeah, honestly, like I said, the biggest issue with Lily Shan is I do kind of have her as flexy supporty with extra like Cloove and stuff, and honestly, that's still much like Seekers, any Cloovers. The more efficient you are at getting clues, you're effectively killing enemies the same way, because you're progressing fast enough that you're not spawning as many enemies just purely from number of rounds passing. And it's the same idea with just having someone that can, when there's nothing to fight, just to go and get some clues here and there. Obviously, I sometimes have done Elders to kind of get clues through my Runic Axe, but I think starting with Glory is the best call, just simply because it gives you that consistency for card draw and healing. And it just also gives you more things to spend your charges on if you need them. All right, I think I rambled on enough. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully I didn't make too many rules mistakes. I'm glad I was able to completely show off how ridiculous Wendy Adams is in Legacy and No Taboo. It was a lot of fun. I think I'll do some tweaks to this deck and then probably call it good. I think the biggest thing that's just dangerous about Wendy Adams is, especially the way I play her, is I'm pretty much hoping to get this Abandon Alone resolved. So that essentially turns her from a 7/7 to a 7/4, because of just the fact you're guaranteed you're going to be taking 3 horror. And then since I also have the In the Thick of It, I'm essentially a 5/4 character. I do have some ways of healing with True Awakening, which I didn't really pick up until later. And I found myself in situations where I just had too many things to do with Wendy to actually have time to heal myself. this particular campaign does have a lot of raw damage that you get pumped with from like Fate of All Fools and the like. So yeah, I think Talisman of Protection is probably something that's just going to be here to stay, which I'm completely okay with. Sparrow Mask, nothing to say about that. That is just super reliant. And yeah, Indebted, starting with Indebted does kind of hurt a little bit, just simply because it doesn't play well with Ever Vigilant, and I can't play as many things in the beginning. But not having to deal with one less weakness in my deck, I think worked out really, really well. Originally, I was kind of worried about it because I thought, oh, I have one less card, which means I'll cycle through my deck faster and get abandoned alone more often. But as you see with Wendy's Amulet, you can just make it so you just never go through your deck entirely, and that's all you need to do. I don't know if I kept track of the Doom or Elder Sign counters that well. I feel like Lily Chen at least auto-failed once, but I'm not entirely certain. But yeah, we actually were pretty lucky through most of this, so I definitely have no complaints about luck on this particular playthrough. The only complaint I had, of course, was Wages of Sin, just simply because I was very exhausted and just kept making mistakes, and it just frustrated me. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I am The Depressed Dior. This was Arkham Horror the card game. We did Circle Undone with the new cult members of Lily Chen and Wendy Adams, and I'll see you guys next time.